Excuse, Dan. Maybe that's yours.
It's 8:30, right? You ready?
Good morning, everyone. Hard to believe it's August 4th already, but for those who care to join us, please rise. Brandon Ritchie's going to lead us in prayer, and then we'll start with the meeting with a Pledge of Allegiance.
Please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this glorious day that you've laid out before us, a day where we have new issues to face, Father, new waters to navigate, but also new hope, new opportunities. And Father, this day particular, you have put before us a day where it's a meeting of those who govern us, who lead us, Father, and new issues before them that they will decide on, that they will need wisdom for. We pray for that wisdom. And we pray for them. We lift them up to you, Father God, that the choices they make today are ones that ultimately are in service to the people in which they lead and also glorifying to you, Father, ultimately. We thank you for these men, those who give of their time, Father, to meet these roles and who have gone into this. Father God, we know that this is no easy task. It's hard to make decisions, Father, when you lead and keep everyone happy, keep everyone pleased. Father God, we pray that rather than choosing to merely please and keep happy, they choose what's best. We thank you for them, their commitment to our communities. We thank you for those who go into these roles, Father, and we just pray for strength, wisdom, and conviction for them as they go forward. We thank you for these things and pray them in your Son's precious name. Amen.
Amen. Yeah. Thank you, Brandon.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd just like to say before we get started, Brandon, thank you for giving your time coming here in the morning to do this for us. It's greatly appreciated. So the first agenda item is public input. I know we have a gentleman that wanted to speak. Yes, sir. Come on up. And have a seat.
I don't know who I give this to.
And she's got a list there.
Sign that for me, please.
Yeah, my name is Charles Rutherford.
Go ahead and have a seat, sir.
I live at 12561 Union Road.
Okay.
Right off of Route 8.
Okay.
It's a dirt road. It's been dirt gravel forever. Back in the day, there was just a couple crappy trailers there. But now they have some really nice houses, some $500,000 houses that are in there. And there's about, 10, 12 houses through there. It's only a quarter mile long, the part that matters. If we could get a chip and seal, it would be awesome. The dust flies off there and it's blowing into these houses, and they're really nice houses. I mean, they put up a couple of them that are, like I say, $500,000 houses through there. And if it just chip and seal the road would make it awesome. I got a little petition that everybody signed for it.
Are you the one that called me a couple weeks ago?
Yep.
Okay. I couldn't remember. It was you or one of your neighbors. Couldn't remember your name.
No, it was me. It was
I talked to Jason, and then
my
we'll be
wife.
able to address that later.
Yeah. That's all I got to say.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate your concerns.
All right, let me put my name down here.
Yep.
Since that's all I need is, can I get out of here?
Yep. You're good. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. Y'all have a good one. Please think about it. I'd appreciate it.
Jason, Highway Department's first on the agenda today. Jason, come on up. morning.
morning.
Do have a few permits.
More road cuts. And we have road cuts first, I'm assuming, right?
Yep.
First one is ProSource. Who's ProSource, Jason?
They're a sub for Brightspeed.
Okay. First one is ProSource, and it says Hillside to Parkview to Hillside Court, to place conduit for Brightspeed equipment, directional bore, Center Township. Item number 2 is Linwood Drive, Meg to 11th, place conduit for Brightspeed again, directional bore. Michigan Road to Lupine Lane to 11th, place conduit for Brightspeed, Center Township also. The 4th is Purdy Lake Trail, Purdy View to State Road 17 to place conduit for Brightspeed, directional bore. That's West Township. Number 5 is Deer Trail to Pine to Country Lane, place conduit for Brightspeed equipment, directional bore, Center Township. Number 6 is Castle Drive, 11th to Michigan. Again, place conduit for Brightspeed, directional bore in Center Township. Number 7 is Nutmeg Meadows, place conduit for Brightspeed equipment, directional bore, Center Township. And number 8 is Michigan Road, 7B to Memory Lane, conduit again for Brightspeed, Center Township. They have 8 requests. Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve the 8 requests from ProSource as presented.
Second. Motion been made to approve the 8 requests from ProSource as presented. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next one I believe is NIPSCO. There you go. Thank you, Victoria. Number 1 is Lake Watonka, 12th Road to 17829, 17771, 17743, Rose and 12th, West Township, replace 11 utility poles. It'd be a bucket truck equipment. Number 2 for NIPSCO is 9B, the Union to South Upas, replace utility poles, equipment, bucket truck. Number 3 is Quince Road to Purdy Lake, replace utility poles also with a bucket truck, Center Township. Do I have a motion?
So moved. And second?
Motion was made and second to approve NIPSCO, the 3 requests for replacing poles. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The last one is BSM, Hawthorne 11A, Walnut and Linkaway, Inwood Home Park, Center Township to place conduit, 1 to 2 inch fiber optic cable. Equipment will be a directional bore.
Motion to approve the request from BSM as presented.
Second. Motion been made and seconded to approve the BSM request. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Is that all of them, Jason?
That's it.
Thank you.
Bridge 1 Ewell Trail, NIPSCO did reply back with the tentative start date of 8/25 and an intended completion date of 9/26. The original was able to start on 10/28, and they were originally approved to start on 10/28/24 and be completed by 7/13/25. Contractor wants to start in mid-August. I'm still trying to do what I can to get them to push that up as fast as possible. For 232 Randolph Street, I do have a change order for that. It does have 2 signatures, but go ahead and
Do all 3. And what's the change order for, Jason?
Change order back is LaPorte Construction finally got that change order back to us. Basically, it's just for the clarification on the 8/22/25 opening. Since it wasn't in the original contract, they have to do a change order for that, so literally that's what it just boils down to. Once that's signed,
The change order will be sent to the construction PM for USI for approval, pass that on to the area engineer for approval, then it will be sent down to central office in that. Last week, bridge deck was poured. Fort Wayne finished the rebar on the deck and conduit for the lighting was ran. This week, they have finished prepping both approaches and poured them in place. Mobilize a second crew to the site and begin cutting site grade for the road. Set storm structures on the south side and begin placing curbs. Plan to pour sidewalks on deck, and a lot of that is weather permitting. The new milestone for the preliminary intermediate completion date is 8/22/25. So it will be open for the festival after the Blueberry. They will probably come back in and close that down just to finish up some of the minor stuff.
So what will be the functionality of the bridge when it does the preliminary?
They will be able to, if everything goes right and they get the actual sidewalks poured, you would have basically inside the construction zone, everything open.
Okay.
They may have barricades up and tape around on some of the miscellaneous things just to finish up. Hopefully we have the good weather and they can literally just keep right on going until that date's done.
Perfect.
But as far as passable, everything will be passable. They won't have to bring in a jumper bridge or anything like that. 231. Oh, sorry.
Yes, I'm sorry. Need a motion on the change order request?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made, second to approve the change order request for the highway department for, that was for, which bridge was that, Jason?
232,
232.
Randolph Street.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Thank you for catching that, Angie.
231, a response letter to the reclassification of non-select and select was sent. I had sent that out to you guys for review. So here's the actual paper for signature. If you have any questions on that, Lori Johnson is here with the
That was a fascinating letter. I think maybe we should share it with Mr. Miley and the Historical Society people.
There was a lot of information.
Yeah.
It was well put together.
Guys, any questions for Lori by any chance?
So basically, the letter is saying that we continue to support the original classification of the bridge, to say that we'd like to redo this in the most cost-effective way and not necessarily do the historic preservation on the structure.
I think that's a simple way of putting it.
Want to see that? That's a change order there for 232. This year's, I think this year's the other. Look at.
I will make a motion on that letter if you're going to sign it.
Yeah. So Sean, is there anything that we should be concerned about in this letter?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay. So do I have a motion to approve the letter highway department will be sending in?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made, second to approve the letter the highway department will be sending in on behalf of the bridge agreement. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
No updates on 88, no updates on 108, bridge inspections, EV grants. The Q5 report was submitted. Work has been completed. Martell still has not provided an itemized bill and certifications of completion yet. Once we get that, we'd be able to close it out and submit for the final reimbursement. I'm literally just trying to tidy up with Martell on why this is so complicated to get this information submitted. I don't have an answer why it's taken so long, to be honest with you. Hopefully, though, we can figure that out in the next couple of weeks. Road work, as far as road program and sealing, we'll just skip to the back. On 7/21 to 7/31/25, we completed JAR US 6 to the Railroad 6 Juniper to Kenilworth, Hawthorne 6 to Plymouth Goshen, King to 106, for a total of 18.5 miles. Roughly during that time was $203,536.91, and we're right at about 56 miles. Community crossing, 3rd road is completed, 16 C's completed, 9th road pavement's completed, and still need to complete the shoulders and striping. I have not heard yet when they're planning to start Nutmeg Meadows. Additional paving projects, that agreement was sent, signed by Milestone. Then on the equipment, for the total patcher meeting on July 30th, council supported the purchase of the total patcher from Q and Cap. Stan signed the quote to receive the discount price, which ended July 31st. This will go to council for their August meeting. And I think we just need to ratify that was done.
We need to ratify the contract and my signature. Do I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made second to ratify the contract and the signature, my signature for the total patcher. And all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries, and I believe the council did approve it. It's just a matter of, has to be advertised and go to them for the transfer.
Yeah.
That won't be until
September. Correct.
And I would like to thank the council for their unanimous support on this one. This is going to be a great improvement for pothole repair, so thank you.
I got a quick question for you, Jason. I got a phone call last week, or beginning of last week or weekend time frame, from a gentleman out on 7th B Road concerned about some of the road cut crews. Evidently, they had some type of issue out there where either they spilled some hydraulic fluid because they're repairing one of their machines, or oil. Is there a process that we have in place to say one of those subcontractors spills a bunch of diesel fuel or oil or hydraulic fluid? Do we have any avenue to go back to get them to clean that up?
The one avenue we'd have is every one of them have bonds. So if they don't do it according to how we want it, we could always go back on the bond.
Okay.
I would literally think if they had a hydraulic leak, they would take floor dry out and try to clean it up the best they can.
I would too. According to the gentleman who gave me a call, he said that they put straw over the top of it and kind of took off.
That's
So-
on 7B and
Just north or to the east of the airport out there.
okay, I'll follow up on it.
Tori, can you put back up the resolution 2025 dash, what was it, 8? I believe it was. Here you, no, the resolution.
Well, I lost.
There you go. We also have a resolution that Sean's drawn up in order to purchase the total patcher because of the situation. It was a used machine, and so there is exceptions to the bidding process. So you want to take that, Sean?
Yeah, so this is just, the state has special purchasing statutes, so it's various scenarios where you're allowed to buy equipment without going through a normal procurement process of bidding or seeking quotes. Generally, those involve some kind of savings. One of them is when the price is being offered at a rate that another state agency has already secured through a more broad procurement process. So this was the pricing that NDOT had secured through what they call a quantity purchase award agreement. And so it just recognizes that this is a permitted way to buy the equipment without you putting it out for bids.
So do I have any questions on resolution 2025-8? Do I have a motion?
I move to approve resolution 2025-8.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to approve resolution 2025-8 and the total purchase of the total patcher. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Sean. Got anything else, Jason?
I think that's all I got.
Got anything else for Jason?
No, that was it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, hey, before you go, do you have any Union Road? We talked about that. what the gentleman just brought up a little bit ago?
Union Road, I did go look at that, they do have quite a few houses on that. That
So-
wouldn't really, to me, justify doing a full chip seal from 12th Road back out to State Road 8, due to the fact we have a lot of flooding down there at the northern end of that. But the one section up in there, to me, there's enough houses up there that warrant that in the next year.
Okay,
Something
Thank
at
you.
least to consider.
All right.
okay, thank you. Janice, I seen her here somewhere. There she is. Marshall County Council on Aging has a couple items.
Morning,
Good morning.
Janice Holliday, the Executive Director of the Marshall County Council on Aging. I'm here with my second quarter report and claim form. So for the second quarter, we had expenses of $139,769, and our revenues were $12,763, which leaves net expenses of $127,006. The claim then for the 5311 will be $63,503, plus the state funds of $15,000, and then the local match will be $48,503. We did 7,282 trips for the quarter. We had 60 in-county denials and 113 out-of-county, and we drove just over 55,000 miles. We do still have the 4 newer vans on recall, so we're unable to use those. We put the 2 back in service, so we're still down a couple vehicles. But Friday, we hit a new daily record of 173 trips.
Wow.
So we're still going strong. And we're working our drivers pretty hard, but they've been really good and kept up as well as we can. So we do have the 1 van going up for auction. We'll be bringing that over to Bourbon sometime this week.
We do have his contract to approve later on, so
Okay.
it'll be good to go
Good.
once we approve that.
All right, so I just have a claim form for that, the 63,503 plus the 15, so the total for the claim is $78,503.
How much was it, you say?
The total is $78,503, so that's $15,000 from the state, and the $63,503 is the federal.
So do I have a motion to approve Older Adult Services second quarter claim form?
I move to approve adult services claim in the amount of $78,503.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the Older Adult Services claim form and for second quarter amount of $78,503. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Motion to accept the report as well, please.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to accept the report. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Just one more reminder, I probably won't be here before then again, so the Senior Expo is October 16th. I'd like to see all of you there.
Okay.
It's at the high school from 8 to 3.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Zachary, Bowen Health here has a report for us. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How are you today?
Okay. Okay, thank you. Yep.
Yep. Thank you. And thank you.
And would you both please sign that paper for the auditor's office? And please state your name and titles for the record.
Yeah, Zach Cook, Director of Community Engagement for Bowen Health. Mark Roller, Executive Director, Bowen Health.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we wanted to come and provide our annual report, kind of our Bowen year in review. As Mark and I sat down and started planning for this meeting, he's new. He comes to us from a federally qualified health clinic and FQHC, like ourselves from Montana. So as we started to kind of plan for it, I thought it'd be a good idea for you guys to get to know him a little bit, and he can provide an interesting perspective coming from an FQHC in Montana and kind of speak to, how Bowen does things versus some other places. So he's going to kick us off and, go over the year in review.
Great. Thanks for having us. Happy to be here. On behalf of Bowen Health, very happy to be a part of the Marshall County community, the Plymouth community. Really excited to expand our footprint into Bremen in the near future. We have a shingle that's just ready to get hung out in a temporary location, and we're going to be breaking ground at the Bremen Community Hospital. We haven't publicized that yet, but keep an eye out for the groundbreaking. Looking forward to serving more folks in this great county. As Zach mentioned, I have experience working at a federally qualified health center. What's unique about Bowen Health is that it's also a community mental health care center, and that's really what brings us into the fabric of the county commissioner world and the funding. And I know that there's a large amount of funding that comes to Bowen Health, northwards of $400,000, and that's a lot of money to part with. I come here with hat in hand, saying thank you for that. It's a privilege and an honor to be able to serve patients in this community, especially in the CMHC fashion. Without the community mental health care services, like I had at my previous federally qualified health center, we didn't have the continuum of care, the things like transitional living facilities, the Russell House here in Plymouth, for example, the inpatient hospital in Pearston. I know it's not in this county. We do serve a lot of patients that go there. I've transported patients myself. It's a great feeling to get people to where they need to go. Without the community mental health care center dollars to help supplement that, that looks a little bit different. We also work with DCS. That is a not using county funding, but it does require a community mental health care center to be able to accept that contract. And Bowen does that and hires the necessary roles to make that happen and serve patients in the community. Overall, I wanted to speak about the employees employed from this county. We are almost touching 100 employees. We've served 33,491, almost 3,500 patients for Marshall County, roughly 56,000 services. A lot of those being skills coaching, which is also under the umbrella of the Community Mental Health Care Center. Zach works with a lot of great local nonprofits, mission-driven folks, schools, to be able to connect students to our skills coaching services and then go on further into maybe the clinic to see one of our federally qualified health center primary care providers on the medical side of things, or licensed therapists, or so on. Soon, dental. We're opening dental first in Kosciuszko County. I think it's just because headquarters is there. But there are 5 counties that designate Bowen Health as their county community mental health care center. Each one of those is going to get dental. Next on the map is going to be in the Plymouth location. And we're also going to be moving to Columbia City for Whitley. That money for the dental clinic is in this fiscal year's budget, which we just started. So towards the end of the year, we expect that construction to begin. If you're not familiar with the clinic space over there, there is what we call a gray space. It's shelled out, ready to build in. We weren't sure if we were going to do a pharmacy or if we were going to do dental in this location, and we've decided it's going to be dental. So just like any service where a patient comes to Bowen Health, they're afforded fees according to their ability to pay. So anyone between 0 to 200% of the federal poverty guideline have incrementally raised fees, starting at a nominal fee, and it has to be nominal in the eyes of the patient, and slowly increasing. And then that patient responsibility, if someone is not able to pay, we do have charity care options as well. And that's something I wanted to get into here shortly, not to be long-winded and take up too much of your time. I'll try to speak mostly about the CMHC side of things, because I know that's what you guys want to hit with county dollars. Our inpatient hospital, we did operate that at a $3.7 million loss. That is not a profitable endeavor, but very important to the continuity of care. I spoke about that earlier. Without a federally qualified health center having these other services, we simply would have to do our best to work with outside agencies. So it's really good to keep that under the umbrella of Bowen. For Marshall County patients that went to the inpatient hospital, for sliding fee discounts and charity care, that totaled $106,000. For a transitional living group home, the net income loss, and this is all of our group homes in that portfolio, it's not just Russell House, that was a $1.5 million loss. But for Marshall County residents who resided at Russell House, the sliding fee discounts and the write-off charity care amounts totaled $200,000. And then when you go to the clinic, our slide charity care for 323 of the roughly 3,500 patients served was $181,000. So just there alone, with write-offs for a sliding fee discount to reduce fees according to people's ability to pay, and writing off for charity care, I think we're roughly even for how the CMHC funding comes out of your group. And again, thank you for that. And then on top of that stuff, we're doing good things for the community here. We care about the community, and we're going to grow and continue to invest in Marshall County going forward. Zach, I hope he's a familiar face to you. His role is the Director of Community Engagement. He works with like-minded, mission-driven folks. We had aging services up here, and Zach, I know, is attending an event. We rely on them to help transport patients. It's really a beautiful thing when people come together in the name of strengthening our community. And Zach has a budget, a healthy budget that is used to support those mission-driven nonprofits where it's a sponsorship for local events or providing support or education, just making sure that community residents are connected with our services at Bowen, with other nonprofit service in the community as well. So we're going to continue to work to improve and see more patients in this county, and it's an honor to do so. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to just express my my respect and consideration for the dollars that you're parting with. Do you have any questions?
Oh, I do real quick.
Go ahead.
Because it kind of makes me happy you mentioned a new building up there around Bremen a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I'm wondering if we couldn't enhance our collaboration a little bit further, maybe. Because one thing we've been lacking here in the county is a bed for hold purposes for evaluation, sheriff's department wise. To where we end up for people who need them. Currently, the way I understand it, maybe you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but if we have an individual that gets picked up by the sheriff's department, right now we do not have a bed available for, say, if they need to be evaluated for a hold before they can be transferred fully over.
Yeah.
Potentially, maybe we can solve a problem here with that new facility up in Bremen, because I know we don't have a bed, or at least I've heard we don't have a bed available here at the new facility in Plymouth. I don't know what kind of collaboration would look like between us, but since you're building a new facility, maybe that's something we can work together on. And
great. I think that
I don't know what that looks like. I just figured might as well throw it out there now before ground gets broken on that.
Yeah, and I think you're scratching at something that we're looking at as well. I have a meeting coming up later today with our inpatient hospital team to prepare for a pending meeting that's yet to be scheduled with the sheriff's department here.
And
I want to do better with 48-hour holds and emergency detention orders and everything in between, right? Just to get people the help that they need. Not everyone needs to go to that degree to get back to being right in their baseline, but
and that situation might be more favorable to us too, since federally they're changing up some things on how they're looking at mental health. And was there executive order signed? I think I read something about an executive order signed relating to reopening up of healthcare facilities that got closed down a while back. But I just wanted to put that out there.
And could I ask you too, maybe while you're talking to the sheriff, talk to the courts, because I know there's been some needs, especially with juveniles.
Okay.
In the court system now, some of them I don't think you could handle because of the severity of what's happened while they're there, but
yeah,
there might be an occasion when that might fit. So maybe, I don't want to say anything publicly, but maybe get me later and I'll put you in the right person and maybe we can talk to them and see if there's any help. You know, if something, it'd be in your wheelhouse.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you guys have a date set for your groundbreaking yet?
No date set, but we've been getting questions because it's staked out by surveyors.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a little bit flat-footed on that one. So looking to get that scheduled as soon as I can get with the public relations folks.
Perfect. Yeah, please reach out to me when you guys are ready to do that. I'd love to be there for that.
Great, Jesse.
Yeah, big kudos on dental care. That's one of those things that if you haven't worked with people who are struggling in life, that's something that's often very difficult for them, and so I'm glad to see that. So
great. Yeah. So our target, I mentioned, the 0 to 200% of the federal poverty guideline. That's what the federal regulations has us target, and we're happy to target that. Within that group, a lot of those folks qualify for Medicaid. Medicaid coverage is hard to find in the dental sector. Those are the patients that we want. Yeah.
Zach, you got anything else?
No, I think he covered it nicely.
I think you're getting off easy.
Yeah, for the first one, I think so.
The first one, okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you take a look at the backside here, we're doing awesome things in every one of these categories. Housing solutions, our strong partnership with Serendity's Place, helping the folks get in there and meet their housing goals, so they can find a place in the community, and then we can get some new families in there and help them. And then a new project that is being talked about right now, strengthening paths to recovery. Our strong partnership with Marshall County Hope, and managing that grant, helping hiring for the peer recovery coaches and making sure those services are available to everybody. Building strong families through our skills coaching and therapy services, supporting law enforcement and the courts. Specifically our drug court, our participation with drug court, that's a huge thing that we do. And we're very proud of that here within the last year or two. And partnering with our schools, as Mark said, all of our student assistance program on the contracts, getting 2 free sessions, for every student, no matter their ability to pay. So no barriers to getting served if that family's in a crisis, one of the students, and then just providing hope for, all those different folks. So yeah.
Real quick, I got another question here. Are you guys seeing a trend as far as, does it seem like we're getting better on the front to where numbers are starting to go down, or are we kind of even, or more people coming to you guys seeking your services type deal? Is there a trend to which way that's going right now?
We're focused on growth. I'd say we're in a growth phase, and that's to meet the demand.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not, if you build it, they will come, to borrow from Field of Dreams, which is a show. We see the need, and anytime we open a new site, we have to run everything through the Health Resources and Services Administration under HHS. They make sure that we're being good stewards of any resources that we utilize to move our mission forward, and what they look at is the need.
I kind of figure the numbers would probably trend upward since more of the stigma behind all that. The more it's been talked about, the more people kind of get comfortable with actually acknowledging if they run into a challenge or not. But I appreciate what you guys are doing for us.
We'll be focused on primary care. I think they'll see a large push there. Therapy, obviously very important, very accessible, right? There's no medication or having to go to a hospital for testing or something like that. It's fairly straightforward, very impactful, and trying to bring a medical doctor, psychiatrist here. We have a psychiatric nurse practitioner, but I'd really like to get a medical doctor here for that level of oversight, give it more of a residency feel, learning environment.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I'm good. Thank you guys.
very much,
Thank
guys.
you.
Yep, appreciate your time
Coming
very
in.
much.
Next, we have a presentation from Globe Life, Patty Enfield and Rebecca Taylor. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Would you both have a seat and state your names and your titles, and please sign the sheet for the auditor's office? Thank you very much.
I'm Patty Enfield. I'm a field director.
And I'm Rebecca Taylor. I'm an independent agent with Family Heritage.
Yeah.
And make sure you sign that sheet before you leave the table, okay?
No problem.
Thank you.
We sent over our presentation to them, so it looks a little bit differently. What we are proposing is we are looking to offer the county some services through supplemental insurance. We understand that you already offer a company, but there's not a huge amount of takers so far. So we work with Tippecanoe County in Lafayette, and then we also work with Cass County in Logansport. And both in those situations, we've been able to cover about 50%. So we're looking to offer a service. There's no cost to the community. The first slide that is shown up there is our business to business. It shows that we're in the gold, and it shows some of our competitors. It's just showing that we do things a little bit differently than some of the other competitors that we come up against. If you move your screen forward, please. These are what we're offering. We offer cancer, heart attack and stroke, accident and injury, and ICU policies. They're all individual policies for your employees of the county. We are not planning on going through your payroll, so there's no expense and there's no action needed from the county. We were just told that we needed to go through the commissioners in order to get permission. If you move your screen forward a couple screens, please. One more. This is what supplemental insurance does. There's two types of costs that come into play anytime you have anything big that happens, whether it's cancer, heart attack and stroke, accident and injury. The top of the iceberg is your direct page. That is your regular traditional health insurance. So your hospitals, your dental, your medications, etc. We have nothing to do with that side of things. We handle the indirect costs, as you can see down below. It's quite a bit bigger. And what those entail is loss of income or savings, your living expenses that continue because the mail never stops coming. It could be your insurance limitations with higher deductibles, coverages, things that you don't plan on paying that just show up on your bill, and then out-of-pocket expenses. What if this person wants to go someplace other than Plymouth, Indiana, or Marshall County? So your expenses explode, your income goes down, and it creates a gap. That's where our policies come into play. If you could move your screen, please. We take care of those things like assets your family, your future. Most people look at savings to pay for that, or they sell assets. Go ahead and move the screen, please. So basically, the gist of it is your healthcare is covered by your traditional policies. We pay the money directly to the employees to help them and their families continue. I'm going to have you go through a couple more screens, please. Right. Yep. So I'm sorry, up one screen, please. We're simple. X happens, we pay Y. We do have 4 levels for them to choose from, so something in everybody's budget. And then the easy decision is we give all their money back less any claims paid, and it comes back after a set amount of years. If they do pass away, any of their beneficiaries get the money they put in. We're A+ with the Better Business Bureau, A+ Superior with AM Best, which is a credit score for an insurance company. We've been around 125 years, and we have 13 million policyholders and counting. Here in the community, we take care of both the fire station and the police. And we'd like to extend to the rest of Marshall County. I'm going to show you really quickly how this works. If you can move to this 2 screens down, please. This is a copy of one of our brochures over on the right-hand side. We have elite and preferred levels. This shows all 4. Basically what this means, this is the accident and injury policy. If your person has an accident on the job or off the job, our policies pay. So we're going to give an emergency treatment benefit at $400 on the top end to that person if they go and they have x-rays or stitches done. A diagnostic scan like an MRI or CAT scan gives them another $400. Hospitalization pays $800 a day while they're in there. So if they're in there for 10 days, that pays $8,000 to them. Then it gives them a hospitalization plus benefit. So it gives them an additional $3,200 for the first day they're admitted. The object here is the bigger the bone, the more we pay for the fracture benefit. We're going to pay $10,000 for a broken femur, $4,000 for your upper arm, or $2,800 for a wrist or an ankle. We give some coverages for dislocation, some for surgery, and then we pay some also for physical therapy. We throw in a little bit of dismemberment and then some accidental death. So you can scoot your screen forward, please. These are just a couple claims that we gave an example of why it makes a difference. Our premiums range from about $1 a day and go up from there depending on whether they're going to include family themselves or what. And we just want the permission of you commissioners in order to go and present this to your folks. So that's why we're here today. We did give some information in those packets. It gave you all 4 of the different brochures. It gave you some of the information that we submitted here with our information. What questions might you have?
You said you already service the police and fire. I'm assuming, is that through the city of Plymouth?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I've been working with Chief at the fire department for about 3 years. And then both Becca and I got into the into the police this spring. Okay. So been working with them pretty closely, taking care of claims. Okay. Any questions?
Any questions?
I don't know if it's necessarily for you or kind of maybe Stan or Angie would know. By offering this to our employees, since we're self-employed, would the supplemental insurance affect when our catastrophic plans kick in?
Can't answer that. We'd have to talk to Gibson about that.
Because that might be something to consider, is just kind of knowing what insurance companies tend not to like to pay if they don't have to, especially if there's other coverage out there they can pull from before they kick in. But that was just a question I have just in general, because
I think personally, I'd like to take it under advisement today, just because of questions like you have.
Okay.
And research just a little bit before we actually
Yep.
do something.
mm-hmm.
So I guess that would be my suggestion right now, unless somebody disagrees.
No, I agree.
Yeah,
Okay. We'll take it under advisement. We'll
Okay.
talk about it and we'll get back with you.
Okay, no worries whatsoever. Please note that our staff pays in addition to any other insurance, and it's paid directly to the client, employee, not to the city or such.
I just have a question.
Yes.
I have a little bit of experience working with the city of Plymouth before, and I know like there, at the time I was there, we had like a selected insurance company that ran through payroll, and there was like time set aside in the fall when we had open enrollment where all the employees, got time off and go sit in this presentation or talk with these representatives. With this not being, as proposed, not being like the official county life insurance provider, that how does the engagement with the employees work? I mean, do you schedule an appointment after work, or do you come in and just work with the department staff to say, hey, can you spare a half hour for these people, or what's that look like?
How we've done it in the other two counties is we've gotten permission from HR to go into each. We've called and made appointments, and then each division gives us time to talk with folks, whether it's a 5-second conversation of, no, I'm not interested. Yes, that's perfectly fine. We'll just cross you off this time. Or whether it's a longer conversation depending on what coverages they're looking for. So we can do it off time or on time, depending on whatever it's worked. I know down in Tippecanoe County, like the highway department was kind of hard to get into. So we ended up showing up at about 6:30 with a bunch of donuts, did a really quick presentation, and then collected names and phone numbers of those, and then came back at the scheduled times. Sheriff and jail were a little different too, depending on their availability and their schedule. So it's kind of a combination of both, Sean. So it's a little bit different. Your county could be completely different than either of those. But that's how we've worked those in the past. Yep.
Okay.
All right.
We'll be in touch.
Thank you so much for your time. We signed that for you. Thanks.
Thank you. John Billick has a request on behalf of the fire.
Good morning.
Morning.
I have with me Plymouth Assistant Fire Chief Chewy Garcia that he'll make a slight request once I clear up kind of a issue that I had.
Mr. Garcia, do you want to sign that paper for Angie? Okay.
Yep, I'll do that.
Please.
Yeah.
Thank you, John.
I was before you in June requesting some grant money for the purchase of 2 drones for the fire service. And as I prepared to place the order for those 2 devices, I realized that in the quotation for the products, there were three things that were omitted that I specifically asked for from the company. Thermal imaging, a loudspeaker, microphone, and a larger display monitor. So I got those quotes. The original request was for $18,800 a piece, and this current price quote is request is $19,000 even. So it went up basically $196, and I just wanted to be upfront, clear. You notice the old price was $17,700, I think, and this price is $18,896 or $996 and some change. So I just wanted to be upfront and out in the open with that. I want to move forward with that, but I just wanted to be upfront with you folks.
John had called me and I suggested he come back.
Yep.
And so we could approve the additional. Okay, so make sure everything's above board. So Angie, do we need to have a specific amount of increase, or can we just change that to 19,000?
I think the other ones were a little, you had them estimated anyway. I think if you just approve the 2 drones at 19,000
Okay,
instead of the 18,800.
you'd be comfortable with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Any discussion first, I should say?
Real quick, I'm looking at the package, John, that you gave us.
I'm sorry?
I'm looking through the package
Sure.
that you gave us, and I seen the items that you checked and stuff, but I still don't see the where the thermal imaging was checked on there to include on the pricing. I got spotlight, or
I think the spotlight and maybe a spotlight and loudspeaker, and that's also a component of the thermal imaging.
okay, so it's a full kit then?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, it's a kind of a search package, if you will.
To answer your question.
yeah, I just wanted to make sure.
And you had a motion?
Yep, I move that we approve the new price.
Second.
Motion made second to approve the new price at $19,000 per drone for the 2 drones for the fire departments. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
And I'll just add, while we're on this topic, that at the last discussion of this, there had been some talk about putting together a MOU with the departments, and had some discussion with Mike Miley, and Jack Garner reached out about, we had some questions about if there were mutual aid agreements in place and things, and I'm going to work with Jack and the departments and Mike to put something together. I haven't got that accomplished yet. But
Okay.
Very good.
Thank you. Anything else?
Assistant Chief Garcia's got a presentation he'd like to present to you folks.
Thank you.
So in front of you is just kind of a cost that we're putting together for an extrication class for Marshall County. I just got some numbers together, just kind of go in the high end of what I might ask for. Ask for $2,000 just to put on a class for every department in Marshall County. So we're planning on having this class October 4th. And during that class, we're going to have about 16 cars and 1 school bus to extricate on, so we can learn, teach the surrounding departments, work together, and just further our education as far as, having to use those extrication tools. So this is just kind of a cost of what it would take to put that on. McQueen Services is donating a bunch of their instructors some of their tools. I know we have equipment we're gonna bring there, and the other departments are gonna chip in with what they can. We're gonna have about 4 or 5 people from each department send somebody, and that's basically what it is.
All right. So you say this is gonna be open to all county EMS and
All fire departments in Marshall County.
and what about sheriff's department, stuff like that? Are they gonna be involved, or police departments?
Not with this, no. This will just be with the extrication tools, the jaws of life.
The only thing personally I'd ask is if you guys can keep track of numbers of participation, because I know training participation is a pretty big thing for fire departments, especially on the volunteer. Those that have more volunteers than full-time. And then also lets us know who's actually showing up for some of your guys' trainings for future grant stuff down the line.
Yeah, and we'll have a sign-up sheet, sign-in sheet on those days. I've already reached out to all the chiefs, so everybody pretty much has a set group that they're gonna send per department.
I'm assuming, John, this is part of that 100,000 a year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So do you need approval today on the, to go ahead and move forward with this, or are you gonna bring this back later?
We'd like to have approval today,
And would you be
so we can move forward.
And would you be comfortable with just, since we kind of run, should we do a little bit more to cover? If you have more participation, you think, should we do a little more than 1682, or will you do 2,000 or
I think
1,800?
we're looking at reaching out for some local donations to cover some of those things that we may actually be able to drive the cost down. But this was an estimate that the chief put together so that we could move forward and kind of lock in this planning. McQueen's actually offers a premier training program. So this is not just a local, it's a company that actually does this type of training.
So,
and I guess the benefit, one of the benefits of that is you buy a fire truck from them, they'll spend $800,000 to provide the training for you free.
And the search tools, so the extrication tools, we buy off them. And as far as the set number, this is probably what it's gonna be, because they're only gonna allow about 4 per department. You know, they're only gonna have so many instructors, and you don't wanna have too many people per instructor. So that's why we're offering it to about 4 or 5 per department, and then they can share that knowledge with their department as they go back to their station.
So what would be your request? I mean,
well, I don't want it to exceed over 2,000. And so this number here might go down because we will have other departments.
$1,800, $2,000, what would your request be?
2,000.
Okay. I think that's reasonable too.
I move that we approve the request for extrication training to be paid out of the public safety grant program.
I'll second that.
And can I add up to $2,000?
Up to $2,000.
Yeah, motion. Motion been made second to approve authorizing safety extrication training paid for by the safety grant up to $2,000. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. I will share with you that last week we did some grain bin training up in the paths, and we had 50 emergency responders there. So, oh wow. It's a company from Iowa that travels across the country and does that training. So, not necessarily the grain bin fatality we had back in April precipitated this, but certainly, we realize this is a large agricultural community, and we want to be prepared to serve our folks. So I appreciate your support.
Thank you very much. Thanks to everybody for what they do.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank your department. Okay.
Have you got the oxygen sensors or your sniffer?
4-week delivery time.
4-week delivery time?
Yes.
Okay.
And actually, that was a large topic of conversation from the grain bin training. Being able to monitor that air and that environment in there.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
Next, we have, is anybody here from Sheriff Council? Oh, there he is. I didn't see you back there.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Jeff Snyder, Marshall County Sheriff's Department, filling in for Sheriff Hassel here. Do you have did you see the training flyer? It's for out-of-state travel requests.
We did, yeah, I think we did.
Okay, this is just, for our jail programs coordinator to travel to Nashville, Tennessee, November 7th through 9th. Hopes to bring back new innovative ideas to Marshall County for our jail programs.
And he has funds to pay for that and everything already, correct? So
Correct.
you just need approval to go out of state.
Correct.
Do I have a motion to approve the out-of-state travel of the Sheriff's Department to Nashville, Tennessee on November 7th through November 9th for National Corrections Conference?
So moved.
And second.
Motion, excuse me, motion been made and second to approve the Sheriff's Department sending an officer out of state to Nashville for November 7th and November 9th. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeff. Jack. EMA. We have one piece of good news. Do we have a second one? Huh?
Not quite.
Not quite, okay.
So before you today is the EMPG grant request to apply. So that's going to be applied for this fall to reimburse wages for myself up to $30,000 for 2025.
And that's basically up to 30,000, correct?
Yes.
Half your salary.
It caps you there.
Yep. And I know there was concern we wasn't going to get this anymore.
Yeah, it kind of, usually we get this in early May. And then the application due by date ended up being set for August 11th, and we got it last week. There was a bit of panic. I guess they're changing it this year. Usually the counties apply to the state. The state knows how much then that they need to apply to FEMA for.
Mm-hmm.
They changed it around this year, so the state has to apply by August 11th, but they're applying at a set amount that FEMA's giving them.
Okay.
So that takes out them having to collect all of our data and turn it around to FEMA.
So does that make it a more competitive program then, or?
Our allotment for the state dropped like $100 from last year, so it's about what we were getting.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Well, then I move to approve Mr. Garner applying for the EMPG. Hold on. What's the
EMPG
the EMPG salary reimbursement grant for? This is for next year, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I second that.
Motion been made second to authorize EMA Jack Garner to apply for the EMPG salary reimbursement grant. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And then do you want me to do the good news real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
So we applied for federal assistance for the tornadoes. Oh, is that, you're talking about personal good news?
I didn't know. You what?
I wouldn't be here, yes. My wife is due with our baby on Saturday. She's not popped yet, but she could pop any minute. So I am here and presenting and saving Stan from having to read all this. Yes. The federal disaster declaration was approved for public assistance. So we have FEMA coming up here in a few weeks, and we're going to go through all the documents and hopefully get some money back to the county for expenses that we incurred for those tornadoes.
Good. Thank you very much. Anything else?
Nope. Hopefully I don't see you later this week.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jack.
Councilman Harmon, is he here? I don't see him. Did I miss him?
He texted me a minute ago and said 9:50, right? So
okay, well, we're gonna move on. Attorney report. Sean.
Yeah. So I just have one thing to give an update and seek some approvals regarding the ongoing litigation with Thomas McFadden over the Marshall County Regional Sewer District. So just a little update. Last week, the Sewer District Board held a special meeting, and at that, as I understand it, approved the district attorneys to represent Mr. McFadden in defense of the lawsuit that we filed. And then also they filed a motion to dismiss the lawsuit that we filed. And I know that you're familiar with that, and folks in the public may have read the newspaper and online coverage regarding the motion to dismiss. That was filed on Wednesday the 30th, following their meeting. And then later that day, I received an email from the 4 lawyers who represent the sewer district that they'd like to schedule a call later in the week, which we did have that call on Thursday of last week with the group of lawyers. And where they basically said, hey, we filed this motion to dismiss. We don't think that the claim is proper. The basis of their motion to dismiss is that they contend that the only way to challenge a person's right to be in office is through a special statutory action. It's called a quo warranto action, which in Latin that means by what authority or on what authority do you claim that you have a right to be in this office. So it's a special statutory procedure. The action can only be brought by the county prosecutor, which is somewhat unusual in that it would have to be, I think, pretty remarkable circumstances that a prosecutor would want to wade into a civil dispute and not just be bringing criminal charges against somebody for whatever conduct they have, or by a private person who has some special interest in the office beyond that of just an average citizen who says, hey, I don't like that this person who's not supposed to be there is trying to be there. And under their reading of the law, they think that the Board of Commissioners is not, the case we filed as a declaratory judgment action wasn't a proper action. It should have been this quo warranto action. And then they also assert that even if you had filed a quo warranto action, the case shouldn't go on because you're not a proper party to file a quo warranto action. They assert that only a person who seeks the office, like ran for the office, or themselves a natural person, in this case like Mr. Woodward, who you've appointed to the office and says I should be in the office, not you, Mr. McFadden. And so we had this phone call, and I expressed to them I read their motion and that I didn't disagree with it, or I did disagree with it, excuse me, that one, it struck me just to be remarkable to think a declaratory judgment action is where you've got either some written document, a contract, or a law, and you're asking a court for an interpretation of how does that law apply. And it just seems entirely out of the ordinary that when that law, your ordinance that you wrote, happens to be, and the petition to IDEM, both of which talk about the subject of seats on the board of the regional sewer district and how that operates, that you would never be able to seek a court's determination of what those documents mean because you're not a person who could sit on the board. That just makes entirely no sense. I communicated that to their lawyers, and I suggested, and prior to that conversation, I had discussions with each of you, and I suggested, and you were receptive to, that, well, I don't agree with the position of the sewer district, but why don't, for efficiency's sake, why don't we add Mr. Woodward as a party to the lawsuit and also add a claim for a quo warranto action, and that would be efficient. One way or another, the commissioners want to see the merits of this dispute decided, and we would get there. I suggested that to their lawyers, and they wanted to have nothing to do with being efficient. They said, no, you should withdraw your declaratory judgment action, otherwise we may seek attorney's fees against you, and that was just about the end of the conversation. So the way that I have not been involved in the sewer district dispute at all. I live in a town where I'm connected to sewer. I don't have any dog in that fight on the merits of it, but the way that they've treated this lawsuit, I see the exact same complaints that everybody, you yourselves have been making, ignoring the facts and spending a lot on professional services providers. I mean, I'm one guy, they bring 4 lawyers to the party. So I will say that after doing some research, my initial hunch about them being wrong about this motion to dismiss has been confirmed. And I didn't have to research very far. I just read cases cited in their very own brief. So when you read the newspaper article, they say for 150 years, the Indiana law has been crystal clear that quo warranto actions are the only way to proceed. And that's just not the case. They cite in their own brief a case called City of Bloomington versus Gunther, which is just from 2022, where lo and behold, somebody brought a declaratory judgment action and a quo warranto action in the same case. And the case involved a appointment to the Bloomington Plan Commission. And there was a vacancy in that Plan Commission seat, and there's a statute that's since been amended, but in general provided that certain Plan Commissions have seats that are a certain number of members can only be of one political party and then of another. And there was a statute that said if there's a vacancy on a Plan Commission for a certain amount of time, the mayor of the city gets to appoint the replacement. But if the mayor doesn't make that appointment within that time frame, the county political party chairman of the party that of the person that vacated the seat used to be gets to make the appointment. And so there was a dispute in this Bloomington case whether the mayor was able to make this appointment or the Republican Party chair of Monroe County was able to make the appointment. They both appointed somebody to the Plan Commission, and there was a standoff. And so the Republican Party chairman and his appointee decided to sue the city of Bloomington, the mayor, and the guy that the mayor appointed. And they raise in their complaint a declaratory judgment action asking the court to interpret the state statute about who has the right to make the appointment, and also to interpret some Bloomington municipal ordinances that also speak to who gets onto this Plan Commission. And then they also, both of them, filed a quo warranto action saying, hey, by the way, if you decide that the law applies in this way and that the party chair had the right to make the appointment, then you should kick the other guy out and seat the party chair's appointee. And so that prompted the mayor in the city of Bloomington to file a motion to dismiss, alleging that that was improper and that the party chair and his appointee had no standing to bring the lawsuit, just the same exact arguments that the sewer district is making here. The trial court rejected that motion to dismiss, and what would normally happen then, the case would go on to decide the merits, but they thought that they were right, the city and the mayor, and they asked the court to use a special procedure called an interlocutory appeal. So that's a discretionary appeal. It's when the case isn't done, but you think the trial court's made a wrong decision that's so important that rather than us, go to trial and waste all these other efforts, we should take this up to the Court of Appeals and let them fix the problem right now. So it's a discretionary, and first you have to convince the trial court judge to allow you to try that, and he allowed that. And then you have to convince the Court of Appeals that they want to spend their time right now and decide this issue rather than wait till it's all decided. And in both counts, the trial court granted the interlocutory appeal, the Court of Appeals granted the interlocutory appeal. They decided the issue and they said, yes, that's fine. You've got standing to bring a declaratory judgment action and a quo warranto action. Go back down to the trial court and decide the case. That case then, after the trial judge decided it, it got appealed again on the merits of the decision. And in that case the second case is the one that the sewer district cited in the brief. But if they would have actually read that case, it explains that procedural history right in there. So, I mean, they've cited a case in their own brief that totally undermines their claim. And I'm not saying that all of the statements that they made in their brief are accurate statements of the law, but they're accurate statements of the law, but they just don't apply here. So they can be true, but not applicable at the same time. So when they say that even if, one, a declaratory judgment action is fine. We could just fight on that front and say, deny their motion to dismiss. We don't need to get Mr. Woodward involved. That's fine. But the reason I'm suggesting that we do get Mr. Woodward involved is that in the brief, they say that their assertion is the reason a pro warranto action is necessary because even if a court decides the declaratory judgment action in our favor and says, yes, commissioners, you have the power to declare a vacancy on the board and to make a new appointment, that doesn't mean that the court can't kick out Mr. McFadden based on that declaratory judgment ruling, which that just was shocking to me. I understand that. We didn't ask for that relief and when we filed the declaratory judgment action. We just asked for the court to say, tell us what our law means. And if we're right, I just assumed that Mr. McFadden would respect the court's judgment and leave. But they're saying in the brief, that's not good enough. You have to file a pro warranto action because he might not leave. So that's, with that revelation, I'm suggesting that we do amend the complaint to add a pro warranto count and that you authorize me to represent Mr. Woodward in that matter as well. So, but getting back to their motion, I'll wrap this up here pretty quickly. But the pro warranto action, they say that no, you aren't even authorized to bring one, even if you were allowed, because you're the board and you're not a natural person who could ever serve as a member of the sewer district board. It's only a person who has a claim like Mr. Woodward who could file it. And there's cases that say that, but they quote just portions of it that say, only a person who's eligible to sit on the board can file the pro warranto action. And if you look at the whole quote, it says, if the person bringing the pro warranto action is somebody that thinks they should be in the office, they have to also prove that they're eligible to serve. So it's not just people that want to be on the board that can bring that action. We've seen that in the Bloomington case where the Republican Party chair wasn't saying, I want to be on the Plan Commission. He's saying, I have a right to appoint who's on the Plan Commission, and I can bring this pro warranto action. So their motion is entirely unreasonable and groundless. I point this all out to the court in a filing that I'm ready to file this morning once getting your approval. Unlike their threats of seeking attorney's fees, if you would not withdraw the declaratory judgment action, I set out in the response brief that we're not seeking attorney's fees. That would just be pointless to be trying to take money and shift it from one governmental entity to the other. We just want to get this real dispute about your authority decided by a court and hope that we can efficiently get on with that and not have a bunch of lawyers fighting over things that aren't important. So I'm happy to take any questions.
I'm curious, Sean, is the quo warranto term and that whole process, is that civil or criminal?
It's civil.
So they want us to use that process to refer it to our county prosecutor's office.
So that's one option. So you can refer it to the county prosecutor and he can bring it, or it says another person who has an interest in the office and dispute can bring it. So when it says person, it doesn't mean just natural person. There's no definition of the term person within that section of the code. More broadly, in Title 34 of the code, which is generally civil laws, there's a general definition of person that has 12 different definitions that all apply to separate other codes that aren't relevant to the pro warranto section. But if you go back to Title 1 of the code, which is just general law that applies to the entire code, there's basic definitions that say unless another definition applies or it wouldn't make sense, these are definitions that apply throughout the entire Indiana code. And there's a definition of person there that says a person also includes bodies, politic, and corporate. So you are a body politic, and so you count as a person. And it makes sense the corporate as well, because when you read the quo warranto statute, it's not just about challenging somebody's right to an office on a governmental board, it also extends to corporations. So you could envision a situation where there's a subsidiary of a company and some member of the board of directors refuses to leave, and the appointing authority of that, board member is the parent company, and they could sue under the quo warranto. They would be a body corporate and would be considered a person. So, getting back to your question, we don't need to rely on the prosecutor here.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then, so then secondary from that, the way it sounds to me, they're setting the stage for a very long process to where they can get paid quite a bit of money from the sewer board defending Mr. McFadden.
I mean, unfortunately,
they went from 1 year to 4.
Next time it might be 8. Unfortunately, it seems like that. Yeah,
maybe you could ask.
Well, I'd just like to remind everybody why we are here. In the sewer board meeting on March 12th, 2025, 2 hours and 21 minutes into that meeting, 2 hours and 21 minutes into public comment about why people are upset about what's going on that board. Question came from a member of the audience, quote, so if we have a complaint about this board, the sewer board, do we need to go to a commissioners meeting and say, we need to stop this? Is that what we need to do? And then their attorney, I think this was Mr. Boxberger on that day, responded, you are more than welcome to go to the commissioners and ask them to do that. They have the power to appoint people on this board. That is their oversight of this board. So I don't know if they just thought that we were going to blow the people off and that we weren't going to follow up on this, but they laid this at our feet. They challenged us to do something about it. And I think it's appropriate for us to follow through and defend the people if we're the people that have the authority to make this right. I'm glad that we're doing it. So,
any other discussion? Do you have a motion?
So I just have, one action item is to authorize me to represent Mr. Woodward. We'll add him to, as a party, file an amended complaint that will still assert a claim for declaratory judgment and also assert a quo warranto claim. By doing so, this, just to be clear, I spent a lot of time drafting over the weekend these documents so they were ready to go because I was, a little bit fired up by the fact of reading that the lawyers, I read the newspaper and totally accurately reported what they said, but then you read their own cases and it totally undermines it. So anyways, I have all these documents ready, but just to say that me representing Mr. Woodward is not going to involve a lot more attorney time. Basically, he's just along for the ride on documents that work that I would have been doing on your behalf anyways. But I do have, as part of this approval, a real brief document. It's a consent to dual representation, and it's just a matter of attorney ethics. And it would be for one signature for Stan's signature, but it's just saying that there's no conflict right now between you, that I'm going to represent both of you, and there aren't any confidences that are going to be kept between you, and I don't foresee that there needs to be. If there's at any point where it looks as though I can't adequately represent the both of you, that either of you can, say, let's not do this, or I can do the same. But I really don't see it being a problem. And no offense to Mr. Woodward, but if it became a problem, our position and why we're here is that you have the authority to remove your appointees at will. So if he became a problem, you could remove him and find somebody who wasn't going to be. But I know that he's going to be good to work with.
So declaratory judgment of what are we approving?
And an action for quo warranto.
Quo warranto. So.
And then the other one is a dual.
Consent for dual representation.
Okay.
Should we do the dual representation motion first?
I think I'd do the other and then do the consent.
Okay.
So, do I have a motion?
So moved.
So you're making the motion to
declaratory judgment and quo warranto.
All right, I'll second that.
Motion made and second to approve Attorney Shalice's request to approve the declaratory judgment and the quo warranto document. Did I have that correctly?
Yeah.
Motion made and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And then I move that we approve the consent to dual representation, that Mr. Cerisi should represent both the board and Mr. Woodward in this case, and that we allow the president to sign on behalf of the board.
Second that.
Is there how many signatures on the first one?
So the only thing that needs to be signed is the dual representation, and it's just for your signature.
Okay. Motion been made to approve the consent for dual representation and allowing our board president to sign on behalf of the board. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, and with that, I just hit the button to submit the documents to the court.
So there we go.
Anything else?
That's all. Thanks.
That's all?
Looks like Mr. Harmon is here.
Mr. Harmon's here. So we'll double back and go to Mr. Harmon. He has some comments on interest.
Yeah, sure.
Come on up. We skipped you. You weren't here, so we went to Sean.
No, that's right.
Oops. Thank you.
Thanks.
Good morning. I'll segue off of what Sean said in the public comments. I thought of something. Getting toward the agenda item for interest, the special meeting you guys had, or the Board of Finance meeting you had, I know includes the treasurer, and I'll forward this information to the treasurer as well, because she sits on the board, but you had asked some questions in the meeting. I saw it in the live stream later about which funds have interest and which funds perhaps could be transferred to the general fund. Speaking with Mr. Dalton, he said it's pretty common practice that counties transfer all the interest to the general fund. I'm not recommending that today. I'll come forward with a formal recommendation at the next Board of Finance meeting if we could have one of those going forward in the next month or so. But if you look at the funds I just presented for you, there's $354,000 approximately of interest earned in the first half of 2025. The big ones would be the jail lit of $111,000, closer to $112,000. You see the Cume Bridge has $98,000. I'm just rounding these to nearest thousand. $76,000 for rainy day, $45,000 for the unrestricted MVH. But as you go down the list, you can see that there's 9 funds that do accumulate interest and retain interest. The general drain maintenance, I will abide by that one. That is statutorily restricted, and that's not included in the $354,000 total. But there was 174 funds. I had to kind of go through all the funds in the budget books that are special funds that are not general fund, and 165 of those did not retain any interest earned. And some of those are kind of interesting. The health funds, 1159, 1161, they don't retain the interest according to the claims reports anyway. The MVH restricted, 1173. The local roads and streets, 1169. Those don't retain the interest. Again, this is according to claims reports. CASA did not retain the interest, and Central Dispatch, presumably those all go in the general fund. Moving forward, it would be helpful if we could get more flexibility in our general fund. And again, I'm just seeing 3 right now that I think are pretty easy to do. We had talked about, I know Jesse, for a long time, how the jail fund is going to retain $4 million roughly by the end of next year, and it's statutorily required to stay in a maintenance fund unless the General Assembly lifts that restriction for us. So, but we could transfer some money over there. First half of money would be $111,000, $112 to round it up. Rainy day, I do have some folks that want to put more in the rainy day, but if you take it out of the general fund, put it in the rainy day, you lose the interest accumulated. So I would like to see the rainy day funds be capped at a certain number, and then the interest going forward goes into the general. Reassessment's one that doesn't take a whole lot of interest. The other ones I have question marks in that column in the center. I think we need to just kind of look at it more closely, see if it makes sense to transfer the interest into the general fund. One for sure I think you should keep there would be the MVH 1176. We obviously have a challenge to keep that one at a balanced level that's good and healthy. The fund has money in it, but as you know, there's a huge amount of money in the local road and street and the 1173 restricted. So the fund balances overall on the highway, those three combined are pretty good, but you got two that are fairly restrictive. So I would recommend going forward, leaving at least the MVH interest in there. But you know, that's for the Board of Finance to consider, and you three are on the Board of Finance, so I'm just publicly making, you know, a little presentation here. I know we need to do it with the treasurer in the future, and that's, you know, where we'd have to do the formal presentation. And again, I'll give this information to the treasurer. But, you know, again, it helps us as we go forward to fund some of these programs. And in the bottom, I just put in italics, it would certainly help fund that fire EMS grant that we're trying to continue and keep moving forward. So that's what I have for you. And if there's any questions, I can answer them.
Yeah, I would certainly be interested in looking at, I agree with the three ones that you identified there. And I would say potentially the CUNE funds as well would make sense to look at transferring those interest amounts to the general fund as well. So
yeah, I'm on board with that. It makes sense to add flexibility for that money that's just sitting there doing nothing for us anyway.
Yeah. And again, these funds would still 100% remain under control of the council. And so I trust the council's judgment and want to provide them with maximum flexibility. That's my thought. So
well, that's appreciative because we'd always talked about how Indianapolis likes to tie our hands.
Yeah.
And by restricting it into certain funds, we're actually tying our own hands. So I like flexibility, and I appreciate the confidence because right now we do have some of the healthiest fund balances we've ever had. And I think moving forward, we'll continue to watch our money wisely and do good things. So appreciate that.
I would say the statewide 911 fund, I mean, it's been a concern we've had because we know it struggles to keep up. I know it's $5,000, not a lot of money when you look at, you know, the balances, but
yeah, we're you know,
along the lines, we've got to take care of that.
We definitely have the ability to bolster those funds going forward once the new legislation takes effect. As you know, the income tax, if the legislation sticks, will be 100%, you know, collected for the county. What the public generally doesn't know is that there's a 1% tax rate for county income tax, but we have to share it with the municipalities, the libraries, the townships. So the county share is only 40% or 0.4%. So, but going forward, any income tax restructuring we would get to keep. So there's an opportunity to solidify those funds more in the future. So
okay.
Would it make sense for us to request another Board of Finance meeting following our August 18th meeting?
Let's let them get their presentation together, what the council decide.
Again, yeah, I'll give this to the council as well. But really, it's the Board of Finance's decision. It's not a council decision. And you know, we were never involved in any decision when these funds in the past were dedicated to general fund or not. Like the ARPA fund, for example, had almost $9 million in it, and the interest presumably went to the general fund because it wasn't, you know, calculated in the claims report. So, long story short,
interest off the ARPA, just so everybody is aware, that came down from the federal government, that it could not receive any interest.
Okay.
So that's why that one did not receive any interest.
Okay. So, but the $9 million of cash that sat in a bank fund, right? It didn't.
Interest was earned, but the reason it wasn't put into that fund was for that reason. Right. Any interest that is not split between these other funds does go into the general fund.
Okay.
Anything else?
So you're not worried too much whether or not when we set the next finance meeting, or
according to your last meeting I saw on the live stream, you want this done by,
So
obviously it has to be done by the end of the year, but preferably sooner rather than later.
I'd be all right with doing it 2 weeks from today, following the conclusion of our regular scheduled meeting.
does that work for?
Well, it's not, yeah.
You're gonna have to check with the treasurer because that's
Okay,
not,
that's treasurer's call.
All right, I'll check with her when we get done.
Adam, you're the chair, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
All
Well,
right.
that's all I have for you, but I'll come back during public comments.
All right, thank you. We'll move on to the auditor's report.
I have your July 21st minutes.
I move that we approve the minutes from the July 21st, 2025 meeting.
Second that.
Motion been made to second the July 21st minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
I have the accounts payable claims.
I move to approve the accounts payable claims.
Second.
Motion been made and second to approve the accounts payable claims. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
And I have payroll claims.
I move to approve the payroll claims as submitted.
Second.
Motion been made second to approve the payroll claims. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Now we're to the section we have public comment. Anyone has anything on their mind? Has a comment? Come on up, Tim. Come on back up. Raise your hand when he gets done.
Raise my hand.
No, anyone else after you're done.
I think when we testify and tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
That may not be a bad idea. We're gonna skip that one today.
I do that, so solemnly swear.
Right.
Tim Harmon, 2940 Sycamore Lane, Bremen, Indiana. Council member, I want to segue what Sean said, and I know I might have floated this idea around. I think it's important that the council eventually weighs in. We were a party to the petition 2 item to form the sewer district, and I don't think the council has really weighed in. Now, we can always do that at a council meeting during public comment, but I think it would be best if we as a body met. I'm just going to throw this out there, and I will talk to the other council members to do some sort of joint meeting on this. I think there's a lot of information that's very cloudy for the general public, what our role is, how the whole sewer district came about. I think it'd be just very good to kind of have a public meeting, let the folks talk about it as well. I know that they're looking for you guys to take action, and you are, but I think we're a party to the sewer district at any rate. I think going forward, there's looking like some money either way has to come from the county government, I believe. We have an interesting situation on our hands going forward. I think the council needs to weigh in on this, and I would like to have some sort of joint work session or public meeting going forward.
We can talk about that later, okay?
Okay. All right. So,
I guess I'm hesitant to say much because of potential, we are involved in legal action, so we can talk about this a little bit later.
Okay.
I'm not opposed to it. I'm just saying we can talk about this later, okay?
Okay, well, I think it's always good just to get the information to the general public and have them give an opportunity to weigh in more, because I know they're frustrated by the comments I see on social media, and then there's a lot of news reports out there, and I think it's important to have, the public have their voice heard.
Yeah.
So thank you.
And I will say thank you, because I know that I've had private conversations with many members of the council, and that they share the concerns that the public has, the concerns that we've expressed, and it would be nice to have the council on the record so that we're not hanging out there by ourselves on this one. So, yeah.
Well, again, it's just a meeting to,
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else have any comments? Anyone? Seeing no one, we'll move on to the commissioner items. And the first item is the auction lot agreement for Auditor Service to sell the one vehicle. It's basically the same thing we had before. Same terms, just date's been changed to August 24th. And I think, is it just one signature? Do I have a motion to approve?
So, well, I move to approve the auction lot agreement with the president of the board being the sole signatory on the contract.
Second.
Motion made and second to approve the auction lot agreement with the president of the board signing on behalf of the board.
for the auction taking place August 24th to sell one of the older adult services vehicles. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. I have one other item. Is that all we had on there, Angie?
Yes.
Okay, I have one other item come up. You had brought up last meeting about the trailer.
Yes.
One Annette Henning had talked about. I did do some checking. I was a little uncomfortable with this at first because I wasn't sure who had paid for that trailer. And I didn't feel comfortable giving it to somebody for $1, not knowing who paid for it. In making some phone calls, it appears that the commissioners owned that trailer and had given it to David Courage, and then for some reason, whatever, I don't know why, we got it back. And then it was used to convert. I don't have a problem with your suggestion. I would just like to see some language that says they cannot sell that trailer and profit from it. If that should be the case, it should come back to the county, and they take all responsibility, for whatever goes on, because technically we're going to transfer the title if we do this.
Right.
So I don't know if one of you guys want to talk to Annette and see what you work out. Have Sean draw up an agreement then.
Have you looked at that at all, Sean? I think I forwarded an email to you on
Yeah,
that.
so you had sent that to me, and then not too long after, Stan had contacted me and said, hold off till I figure out who owns it or paid for it.
Yeah.
And but I can get back to putting that together and add some kind of language that you guys get a right of first refusal, or it should come back to you if
Basically, it comes back to us. I mean, no matter what. If they quit using it for whatever reason, just sets around and it comes back to us.
Yeah, I'll work up something for your next meeting.
That is a county asset, and although it's being used for its intended purpose, it's going outside the county, and I don't think they are a nonprofit, but I don't think they should be allowed to profit from a county asset.
Okay. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
All right, so, okay. You have anything else, Jesse?
I don't think so.
Don't look that way. Do you have anything else?
Of course I do, Steve.
Go ahead.
All right. So this is some business carried over from our safety meetings that we've been having monthly. It was brought up a couple months ago, actually several months ago, about putting baby changing tables in the restrooms. There was an incident or happening at one point in time where there's a lady with her baby and she was changing the baby's diaper on the ground inside the bathroom, which is probably not the best route to go doing that, especially in a public bathroom. Billy's got some prices for us. I believe ballpark is between $150 to $200 a changing table. Right now, I would say we'd look at the county building here and maybe the courthouse as the only two buildings possibly putting changing tables in. And then potentially also put in a changing table in the men's restroom also. It'd just be a matter of us authorizing to go ahead to start that process, or if you guys don't want to move forward with the process.
Talking just the ladies' restrooms for now? Or talking about doing both men and...
It was suggested both men's and women's restrooms.
So we're talking $300 to $400. Are you going to do it one floor in this building or second?
I would say the second floor would be suffice. I don't know exactly where over courthouse wise, but the amount of people that go in and out of there.
So we're looking at probably a minimum of $600.
6 to 8.
6 to 8 probably.
I'm in favor of that.
All right.
So we have a motion to move forward?
I move to authorize the maintenance department to make a purchase of some baby changing tables for the men's and women's restrooms here in the county building and in the courthouse, in an amount not to exceed $800. How about that?
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded to authorize maintenance to move forward with putting some baby changing tables in each building, not to exceed the amount of $800. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And then I got one more item, and that concerns first aid kits within the buildings or our buildings. And right now, we're still looking at trying to find a price. And I talked with Billy, and we got the idea from the highway department because they use Cintas. They'll come through, make sure all the Band-Aids are good and stuff like that, and basically manage that for us. Basically, I just want, this is informational right now. Billy's going to be in the process of reaching out to Cintas to find out what the prices are for that service and what that would kind of look like. And tentatively right now, we're still bouncing ideas around about where we'd want to keep those. But that is going to be coming down the line here too.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That is a ongoing management headache to make sure that those things are properly stocked. So
it's not going to contain aspirin or any medication. It's just going to be your general bandages, antiseptic wipes, and stuff like that.
All right.
Okay. Anything else?
That is it.
That's it. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made, second adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you all for coming.
We haven't made a thing.